Maybe it's the constant worry about the future, the sudden frustration when life doesn't go your way, or that paralyzing dread that stops you from moving forward. We've all felt trapped inside a storm of negative thoughts, drained of energy, and stripped of joy. But here's the truth: you're not alone, and you don't have to stay stuck there. This is where Stoicism steps in, not as distant philosophy, but as a blueprint for reclaiming strength, clarity, and peace. Peace doesn't mean the absence of emotion, it means learning to manage your mind so emotions don't control you. The path isn't effortless, but it's possible. What you're about to discover isn't theory, it's real lessons shaped by experience, sharpened by Stoic insight, and tested in life itself. Stay present, because any word you hear today might be the turning point you've been searching for. This is where our journey of inner strength begins here on Stoicism Breath. Lesson 1. Realize your mind can generate happiness. The human mind is extraordinary, an engine capable of producing the full spectrum of emotions from deep sorrow to pure joy. The problem isn't that the mind is broken, it's that most of us let it run without direction, like pressing the wrong keys on a piano and wondering why the music sounds painful. Picture yourself sitting quietly in a room, but your mind starts typing out stories of worry, regret, and failure. Why not choose different notes? Gratitude, joy, and cherished memories are there too, you just have to direct your thoughts toward them. Think of a morning where you wake up already focused on what's unfinished. Instantly, the day spirals into stress and fatigue. But what if you paused and thought, I'm alive? I have a new chance today. That single shift changes your energy. Joy isn't hidden out in the world, it's always been inside you, waiting for your attention. The Stoics remind us that happiness begins with discipline of thought. When you stop feeding the patterns that drain you, joy naturally emerges. Even in the middle of exhaustion, you can look at the sky, take a breath, and remember peace has been with you all along. This is the first key to rebuilding your inner world. Your thoughts can either imprison you or free you. Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking." And today you get to decide which keys you'll play. If you constantly dwell on pressure, your mind will only generate more stress. But the moment you stop, breathe deeply, lift your eyes to the sky, or let a calming sound wash over you, you'll realize that peace was never gone. It was always within you, just forgotten. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Too often our thoughts get trapped between regrets of the past and fears of the future, leaving us blind to the present moment. Think back to a time with your family. Were you really there, or did worry and work steal your attention? If you had simply paused, taken a breath, and fully observed the moment, you would have discovered that joy was already there, waiting. Here's a simple practice. The next time a dark cloud forms in your thoughts, ask yourself, am I pressing the wrong key? Then gently redirect your focus. Think of one thing you're grateful for, one memory that warms your heart, or one hope you refuse to give up on. That small shift begins the transformation of your mind from a source of suffering into a sanctuary of peace. This isn't theory, it's a habit you can begin right now. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking." And once you realize that thoughts can shape your entire emotional world, a deeper truth emerges. Peace is never about outside events, it's about how you interpret them. This becomes the foundation, but to build on it, you must take the next step, training your mind to serve you instead of overwhelm you. The Stoics taught that suffering doesn't come from the world itself, but from the story we attach to it. Think of the moments when anger took over you, raised your voice, said words you later regretted, and felt no peace afterwards. Anger never resolves conflict, it deepens it. Seneca warned anger, if left unchecked, often causes more harm than the injury that triggered it. So ask yourself, is a burst of rage worth sacrificing? Your long-term calm emotions like anger and anxiety aren't enemies from outside, they're patterns of a mind left on autopilot. And like any powerful force, your mind needs guidance. The question is, will you let it drive you, or will you learn to take the reins? This is the path Stoicism breath invites you to walk step by step with strength, clarity, and control. Emotions like fear or frustration aren't enemies attacking you from the outside, they are patterns created by a mind left running on autopilot. Think of your mind as a powerful but untamed horse. Without reins, it bolts toward every stimulus, dragging you along for the ride. The surge of anger, the grip of fear, the wave of frustration. These are signs that your mind has taken control and you're just holding on. But here's the truth: you can take back the reins. The first step is to stop fighting your mind and start working with it. When anger rises, don't react right away. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, where is this coming from? Is it worth my peace? What if I chose not to respond with anger at all? In that pause, you create space, and in that space lies your power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are troubled by something external, the pain doesn't come from the thing itself, but from your judgment of it, and this you can erase at any moment." That's the reminder you always have the final word in how you respond. Life is unpredictable. Some days flow easily, while on others the smallest trigger, a rude comment, traffic, a careless word, can feel like a wrecking ball. This is where Stoic practice matters most. You can't control the waves, but you can learn how to sail. Think of driving. You can't stop every reckless driver, but you can slow down, stay alert, and keep yourself safe. The same applies to your mind. You won't silence every negative thought, but you can decide how to engage with them. Training the mind is like building physical strength. It doesn't happen from one workout, but through steady daily effort. The next time anxiety begins to rise, don't spiral. Focus on your breath. Remind yourself this will pass. I can respond, not just react. Mastering your mind doesn't mean eliminating negativity forever. It means learning to coexist with those thoughts without letting them dictate your actions. When you direct your mind, emotions stop controlling the steering wheel. You do. That's when you become the calm in the storm, the anchor when the winds rise. A trained mind doesn't just reduce suffering, it becomes a source of clarity, resilience, and strength. So ask yourself, are you steering your thoughts or are they steering you? This is the journey. Stoicism breath invites you to take reclaiming your inner reins step by step until you become steady no matter what storm surrounds you. So much of the pain we carry doesn't come from reality, it comes from what we imagine reality might become. Think about your last anxious moment. Was it really based on fact, or was it a prediction your mind invented? Maybe you pictured yourself failing a presentation. Maybe you assumed a short text meant something bad. Maybe you feared the worst from an email with no context. But how often do those fears actually come true? Almost never. Epictetus reminded us men are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. Our minds are brilliant filmmakers, but too often they direct horror film stories where everything collapses, where worst-case scenarios dominate the screen. Picture this: you're sitting at home, nothing has happened yet. Your mind is replaying old arguments or forecasting tomorrow's failures. Your heart races, your chest tightens, anxiety takes over. But none of it is real. It's a projection, a mental illusion. Here's the good news. If your imagination can invent fear, it can also invent hope. You can be the director of something better. Imagine that meeting ending in success. Picture the phone call filled with laughter. Visualize a future where things work out instead of fall apart. This isn't naive, it's training. Just like a muscle, your imagination grows stronger with practice. Try it now. Close your eyes. Recall a beautiful memory, a hope, a possibility. Feel how your mind shifts in seconds. You just proved your power. Consider this example: your partner texts, "We need to talk." Immediately, your brain races conflict, disappointment, betrayal. Your mood sinks. But when you finally talk, it turns out they just wanted to share exciting news or plan a surprise. The suffering wasn't from reality, it was self-inflicted, built entirely in your imagination. That's the lesson: most fears aren't real. They're assumptions, mental fiction. And the more you believe them, the more you suffer. You can't stop the mind from imagining, but you can train it not to believe every story it creates. Next time fear creeps in, Whisper to yourself, "This is just a story. It hasn't happened. I can let it go." Let your inner world be a place of peace, not torment. Craft thoughts that comfort you, not wound you. Seneca said it best. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. If the real world already brings enough challenges, don't let your inner world become a battlefield. Imagination is powerful, but it's your tool, not your master. Use it to serve you, not sabotage you. When you stop building mental traps, you realize a simple truth reality, even when difficult, is rarely as heavy as what your mind imagined. That realization is freedom, but the journey doesn't end there. If you truly want to transform your inner world, you must look at how you define your emotions, because the label you give a feeling determines how much power it has over you. Picture this: you wake up to gray skies, a long to-do list, and immediately feel your mood sink. You might think this day is ruined. But pause. Did the rain really ruin anything? Or was it your interpretation that made it feel that way? Rain is just water falling from the sky, nothing more. If you called it something else, a chance to slow down a moment, to enjoy warmth indoors, a reminder to reflect, suddenly your emotional state changes. One shift in label and the emotion shifts with it. Every emotion begins with a thought, and every thought is just a passing wave in the ocean of your mind. The problem is, most of us don't even realize what we're thinking. Our minds run like machines on autopilot, constantly reacting, labeling, judging. Anxiety, anger, fear, they aren't inherently bad. They gain strength only when we accept those labels blindly. Imagine preparing for a big meeting. Your hands are shaking, your heart is pounding. You might say, "I'm too anxious to do this." But what if you reframed it as, "This is energy. This means I care. This means I'm alive"? Instantly, anxiety becomes excitement. Fear becomes fuel. Stress becomes motivation. Emotions aren't enemies, they're messengers. Signals that you're engaged, that something matters, that you're standing on the edge of growth. There's no such thing as good or bad thoughts. There are only conscious and unconscious ones. Conscious thoughts are chosen with intent. They serve you. Unconscious ones are automatic, often sabotaging. The more you let your unconscious mind define your feelings, the more you become just a passenger reacting instead of responding, and that's when suffering multiplies. Many people try to silence or suppress their emotions, thinking that will bring peace, but it doesn't work. Try this experiment for the next 10 seconds. Don't think of a red apple. What happened? The image popped into your mind even stronger. That's how resistance works. The harder you push emotions down, the louder they become. Instead of fighting them, reframe them. Nervousness. That's care. Frustration. That's a signal something matters. Fear. That's a sign you're stepping into the unfamiliar, and growth always lives there. Emotions are not threats, they are guides. That's the heart of Stoic practice. The goal is not to detach from life's feelings, but to see them clearly. You can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn how to surf. If you've made it this far, it means you're not just curious, you're ready to transform. You've already taken the first steps to reclaim authority over your inner world. This shift in perspective, redefining emotions as signals instead of enemies, is a powerful one, and it grows stronger when shared. Don't keep this wisdom to yourself, pass it on, because the more we grow together, the stronger we become. Now let's take this further into the next layer of Stoic wisdom, understanding the mechanics of the mind. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. And yet, isn't it ironic? The tool we have the most control over is often the one we understand the least. When we don't grasp how our thoughts work, we get pulled into loops of worry, fear, and frustration without even knowing how we ended up there. Think of your mind as a garden. Leave it untended, and weeds in the form of negative thoughts spread fast. But nurture it with care and intention, and it flourishes calm, clear, resilient. Here's the challenge, though: the mind doesn't work like scissors. You can't simply cut out anxious or fearful thoughts and pretend they never existed. In fact, the harder you try to force them away, the louder they echo. It's like this: try not to picture a purple tiger. You just did right. That's the paradox. What you resist grows stronger. What you ignore becomes your focus. As Epictetus taught, people are not disturbed by events, but by the views they take of them. So instead of resisting emotions, ask, what is this trying to tell me? Fear might be alerting you to prepare more carefully. Anxiety might be a signal to slow down. Frustration could be pointing towards something you deeply value. Seen this way, emotions are not problems, they are feedback. And feedback is how we grow. Your emotions are not enemies, they're feedback. And feedback is how we grow. Picture your mind as a high-performance vehicle, powerful, fast, capable of incredible things. But without a driver, it veers off course, wastes energy, and eventually crashes. You are that driver. Without awareness, your thoughts spiral into endless scenarios and catastrophes that don't even exist. But with control, you can guide your thinking intentionally, wisely, clearly. Think about a time before a big moment, maybe a job interview, a crucial conversation, or a test. Did your mind whisper, what if I mess up? What if I look foolish? That thought alone can lock you in fear. But what if you shifted it slightly? This is a chance to learn. Mistakes don't define me. Effort does. That small reframing changes everything because your mind multiplies whatever you feed it. Focus on failure and failure grows. Focus on progress and progress takes root. Science confirms this. Each thought you repeat strengthens neural pathways in your brain. A single harsh belief like I'm not good enough can become a mental prison. But the moment you tell yourself I'm improving, I've come far, your brain begins carving out a new path, one of strength. Here's how you start when an emotion takes over. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, where did this come from? Is it as big as it feels? Is it worth giving away my peace? These simple questions create space, and in that space you find clarity. You begin to see your thoughts for what they are, not truths, not chains, but weather patterns passing across the sky of your mind. And you are the sky, calm, vast, untouched by the clouds. The most transformative step you can take for your well-being is this: stop fighting your mind, start understanding it. Your mind is not an enemy. It is your greatest ally if you learn how to use it. So ask yourself right now, what thoughts are shaping my life today? Do they move me toward calm or toward chaos? The answer is always in your hands. The true art of inner peace begins when you learn to observe your thoughts without becoming them. It's like stepping back from a painting. Up close, the strokes may look chaotic and messy, but when you create distance, the full image becomes clear. Imagine you're in an important meeting and suddenly a thought flashes through your mind. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they think I'm clueless? That thought sparks fear, tightens your chest, and fills your body with anxiety. But pause for a moment. Was that fear truly rooted in reality? Or was it just a story your mind created and your body followed along? Most of the time, it's not the event itself that causes suffering, but the narrative we attach to it. So how do you change this? By becoming the observer, not the participant. Visualize your mind as the open sky and thoughts as passing clouds. Some are light and fleeting, others dark and heavy, but none of them define the sky. You are the sky. When you watch thoughts without attaching to them, something powerful happens. You no longer believe everything they say. One practical tool to build this awareness is labeling. Instead of drowning in a feeling, name it. This is anxiety. This is frustration. This is fear. The simple act of labeling gives emotions boundaries. What once felt overwhelming becomes something observable. Science confirms this. Naming emotions lowers their intensity and increases clarity. The Stoics knew this long ago. Awareness is the first step to mastery. And when emotions tighten their grip, your perspective shrinks. You zoom into the problem and lose sight of the bigger picture. In those moments, ask yourself, will this matter a week from now, a month, a year? Or better yet, can I even control this? If yes, take action. If no, let it go. Trying to control the uncontrollable only multiplies suffering. Another way to build distance is through mindfulness. Each time a strong thought arises, pause, breathe in, breathe out, and bring your focus back to the present, to your body, your breath, the now. With repetition, this practice trains your brain to separate thinking from being. You don't need to silence your mind. You simply need to stop obeying it blindly. Let thoughts flow like a river. You don't need to dive in. You can stand on the bank and watch them pass. Remember this, your mind can be a storm, but you can still be the anchor. And when you master this art of mental detachment, something beautiful happens. Life doesn't suddenly become easier, but you become steadier, stronger, clearer. Say it now as an affirmation, I am not my thoughts. Because you're not. You are the witness. And in that awareness, you discover true freedom. Once you've learned to step back and separate yourself from your thoughts, the real challenge begins: consistency. This is the final and most important lesson, turning everything you've discovered into daily practice. Mental clarity isn't a one-time breakthrough, it's a discipline. Stoicism reminds us that emotional mastery doesn't mean eliminating fear, anger, or anxiety, because those emotions are part of being human. What you can control is your reaction, and that strength only grows through steady, continuous training. Many people look for quick fixes. They read one book, hear one motivational quote, and expect lasting transformation. But that's like going to the gym once and expecting to build muscle, or trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can push it down for a while, but the moment you stop it, bursts back up with even more force. Suppressing emotions without training the mind is the same. They'll resurface stronger, more disruptive, harder to manage. The Stoics didn't run from difficult emotions, they trained for them. Epictetus said it clearly, no great thing is created suddenly. Just like a tree takes time to grow its roots, or a fig needs time to ripen. Your mind requires patience, nurturing, and repetition, so start small. When anxiety appears, don't resist it, question it. Ask, will this matter in 5 years? That simple shift stretches your perspective and makes the fear smaller. Picture this: you're about to present in front of your company's leadership. Doubt creeps in. What if I fail? What if I look unprepared? In that moment, you have two choices. You can freeze or you can train. One powerful Stoic exercise is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. Visualize the worst-case scenario, then ask yourself, even if that happened, could I survive it? Learn from it, recover. Most of the time, the answer is yes. And when you realize that, fear begins to fade, not because the risk disappears, but because your courage grows. To reinforce this process, build a daily ritual. Take 5 minutes each night and write down what made you anxious, angry, or afraid. Then ask, what triggered this? What could I have done differently? This simple reflection builds self-awareness like a muscle. Over time, you'll see patterns, spot triggers, dismantle false narratives, and recognize your areas for growth. You'll respond better, recover faster, and feel lighter. Training your mind is like brushing your teeth. You don't skip it just because you did it yesterday. It's not a one-time fix, it's daily hygiene. The truth is, there is no finish line. You won't reach a point where nothing bothers you, but you will reach a place where nothing controls you. Progress isn't about perfection, it's about practice. One calm decision at a time, one thoughtful pause at a time, one honest reflection at a time. And with that, your mind becomes not your obstacle, but your greatest ally. One honest journal entry at a time, you grow, and slowly your mind transforms from being your greatest obstacle into your strongest ally. Overcoming negativity doesn't mean you'll never feel it again. It means you learn how to feel it without falling apart. It means creating space between reaction and response so you can choose wisely. It means becoming a student of yourself every single day. We've now walked through 7 powerful tools drawn from the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, from recognizing the joy your mind can generate to mastering your reactions to stepping back from false stories to redefining how you see your emotions. Each one is a step toward resilience, clarity, and strength. But here's the key. None of these tools matter unless you apply them daily. Let them move from theory into habit. Let them shape not just what you think, but how you live. Because resilience isn't built in the calm, it's forged in the storm. So take this as your challenge. Begin today. Start small. Pick one practice. Repeat it tomorrow and then again the next day. Slowly, steadily, you'll become calmer, clearer, and stronger, not just in peaceful moments, but in the chaos where it matters most. If this message from Stoicism Breath resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it. Leave a comment with the one practice you're ready to start today and subscribe for more lessons on living with clarity, strength, and peace. Remember, the power to shape your life begins with your very next thought, so choose it wisely.